Hey guys, welcome back. So I just got back from the Fly the Fort Spring Edition, which is located out of Columbia City, and I had a fantastic time. So first day started out pretty windy, but luckily it started to die down towards the mid-afternoon. Here you can see Jordan. He was getting ready to kite his wing to take it up right before the fly-in actually started, so it was always great to be able to see him take to the air. So after that amazing show given to us by Jordan, it was now time for all of us pilots to get in the air. So we all laid out our wings, set up all our equipment, and took the sky all together. It was great to see a bunch of pilots all get up in the air safely and have a good time doing so. After a bit of time, I got my wing laid out, and it was my turn to get up in the air as well. So right now I'm including a little bit more of just kind of what the atmosphere was like getting ready to set up at this fly-in. It's really cool to see all the pilots laying out their different wings, getting out their different equipment, and just the general excitement as everybody gets set up to fly. So one of the things that I ran into while I was trying to start was I didn't start my engine on my back right away, and so I started it after I had already gotten clipped in. So I had some issues getting a full start. So luckily, I want to thank Ren, who came over to help me get set up.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Getting a bunch of nothing.
There you go. Thank you. Good to go? And with that, we are up in the air in the start of the spring Fly the Fort fly-in. So it was great to be up in the sky, and to celebrate, I made sure to do a quick swoop. So this event is very family friendly, so a lot of the time I'm just sitting here going right past where my family was located on the field line. So just taking time to take in the environment as more pilots got in the air. I think there was probably about 15 of us up in the air at any given time. So here I am crossing over the field again real quickly to make sure I say hi to my family. Giving a little kick to tell them that I'm having a great old time. And as I fly over, more pilots continue to take to the air as well. So here I am coming up behind my friend Kyle as we pass down the lane. You can check out his YouTube channel with the link that is listed on the screen. But it was exciting to be able to fly with them. Got some great views as the sun started to set for that evening. I also was able to catch him doing a couple barrel rolls and flips, something that I'm hoping to get my level up to, but not yet. And here I am getting ready to pull out one of my little army men with a parachute. So as I approached the field, timed it the best I could, shucked it as far away as I could away from my prop to make sure to get chewed up. My son here then ran across the field, and he was the lucky winner that was able to grab the army man as it came to the ground. I did one more pass over the top of the field. See my son celebrating as he held the army man. And more people continued to take the field to the air. At this point, it was time to do a little bit of cross country, kind of spread my wings, so to speak, and kind of check out the surroundings and take in the view as well. Very green and lush in the area that we were flying in. Got another pilot up into the air, so it was quite clockwork, just one right after another taken to the skies. Here I noticed my buddy Kyle, and we flew side by side and got some great shots during the event, and you can see us as we fly right next to each other as well. Such a cool shot. I was tempted to do wingtip touch, but it was just a little bit too windy for that day, a little bumpy, so I didn't have the full control that I wanted to be able to do so. I am definitely having a great time in the air again. So my chase cam decided not to set up properly, and I didn't get any more footage from my front camera because the battery seemed to have died, and I also had a battery die on the ground as well. So basically the rest of the evening was just spent flying around, taking in the scenery, enjoying the weather, flying around my friends, and having a great old time as well. Kyle's coming up, swooping behind me in that one, and then there's Jordan. So the evening was a great time. Everybody hung out, was able to talk about paramotors, the family, just in general. It was fun just to hang out after the flights and just kind of take in that great atmosphere as well. So after a good night's sleep, we returned to the field for the day 2 of the flight, and this day started out a little bit more windy as opposed to the day before, so we took the opportunity to do some kiting. So here you can see Kyle and Jordan kiting together in the pretty strong conditions. Earlier I did some kiting as well, however it was a little bit too strong for me and I ended up getting dragged across the field a little bit. But as you can see, the boys didn't have any problems with it compared to myself. But it still had its times where it yanked you across the field. I also missed filming it, but at one point Kyle got pulled to his back and got dragged across the field on his back. I wish I had gotten that footage for sure. During the downtime, we also played some rounds of croquet, which was a lot of fun to keep us engaged. We also had some fly-ins of the plane type that flew overhead as well, which was very welcome at the time while we were playing our game. Super exciting to see that while we're playing our games. As you can see from the plane landing, it was a little windy still, so I had some lower hopes and expectations that we were going to be able to fly that evening. But in the meantime, all a fly-in is about spending time with everybody and trying to hang out with everybody as well. At this point, we decided to have a drag race between this little pocket rocket motorcycle and Ren on his trike. As you can see, they really get a lot of speed and momentum when they get going. Those things can really fly. I also want to say thanks to Ren. He gave me an opportunity to jump into his trike to give it a test drive.
God, I'm short.
This was one of my very first times ever using a trike, and it was really exciting to see how it worked. I was a little nervous to use someone else's equipment, but Ren was gracious to let me try. Also the fact that this thing controlled very easily. As I took to the runway, I got passed up, but I eased into the throttle to give it some speed to kind of get a feel for how the machine actually worked. And as you can see, it can really get some momentum.
That's actually really easy control. I was thinking that this would be like going all over the place.
No, it tracks real nice.
Yeah.
As we came to the end of the evening, some guys went out and continued to try to kite in some of the little bit stronger winds.
zero zipping around in the sky. Start getting wet. This is how it was. Get you some!
Once we felt that the winds were in a little bit better shape, we knew it was go time. Pilot after pilot lined up, took their turn, and got into the sky. I would say within 15 minutes, the vast majority of us took off relatively fast. I was one of the last ones to take to the air, where usually I'm one of the first, but it was kind of cool to see everybody pass over me from above. Since it had kind of stayed overcast, I think a lot of the pilots decided to stay closer to the LZ and kind of take in the view and kind of test out the air as we got up above. Once I got in the air, it still had a little bit of bumps, but it wasn't as bad as it was earlier in the day. But we were still pretty aware that things could change at any given minute. A couple more pilots got up in the air with us, and within another few minutes, I think a lot of us were already up and going. I, for myself, tried to stay close to LZ. I did notice that it had started to get a little bit bumpy. Here's Jordan doing some tricks in the sky as always with his smoke. It was around this time I started to notice some of the conditions in the sky were getting a little bit more bumpy. It had started out pretty bumpy at the beginning, but it had started to slowly pick up a little bit of turbulence. At first I attributed a lot of it to maybe rotor coming off the tops of the trees, or maybe turbulence just from the amount of paramotors all flying around in the same area. But I did notice that it started to get shaky pretty quickly. At this point, it was maybe 5-10 minutes right after sundown, so we still had about 15-20 minutes before we had to be on the ground legally. So Ren had kind of an awkward takeoff there. We found out later one of his brake toggles had gotten tangled up late into it. So he hit the chase cam and had to abort into the field itself. Luckily, there was no damage to Ren's machine. Everything was A-okay. He just made the right decision to get down on the ground. I think this is the point where pilots started to realize that the wind conditions were suddenly turning for the worse. I don't know what happened, but we must have started to get a gust front or something coming in, but it started to get to a level of turbulence that we needed to get down to the ground pretty quickly. So one by one, we all started to bring in our landing approaches. Basically, at this point, I believe that everybody just came in one right after another. I, for myself, was circling until I had a clear spot to take. my landing as well. As you can see, I'm about third of the ways back. So the wind itself was not necessarily dangerous. It just made it for a less than fun time, as you had to do a lot of active piloting to keep a straight line. So it was better just to call it safe and bring everybody in.
Yeah, it was getting pretty gnarly there till the end.
I was like, no, I'm getting down.
Yeah.
Just jumping everywhere.
I was fine, and then just like the last 5 minutes, it started getting gnarly.
Yeah.
And so I was following the guy in the trike.
I was over top of you here, and I made that left. That's when I was like, nope.
Same here. And then the guy was on the trike, but he couldn't land.
Yeah.
So I circled back this way. It got even worse. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it got weird up there. Glad you're safe.
Thanks, man.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Hey, I'll take that flight, though.
Yeah, that was fun. Better
At least we got something in.
Gears the whole time.
Yeah.
I almost didn't make the length of the runway.
I saw you on
And with that, day 2 came to a close. All the pilots were back safely on the ground, and we just spent the rest of the evening just kind of hanging out, building some fires, hanging out, talking about the day, and all overall just enjoying everybody's company as we had gotten together for day 2. So ended up being a pretty good day after all, and I very well enjoyed the flight that we got. So day 3 turned into exactly what fly-in should be all about, and that is just everybody hanging out. So unfortunately, the winds didn't seem to die down, and it looked like the odds of flying that evening were going to be a lot less probable. So instead, it turned into just a day of everybody hanging out, playing with the one wheel, kiting with the wings, just in general, hanging out with all the new friends or old friends that we've made along the way. So in all, it ended up being a more fun day than anything, just by the fact that we all got to hang out.
All right, now get on the one wheel. Yeah, there's people that kite with these things.
However, Jordan wasn't going to let the bad winds keep him down. As always, Jordan took the opportunity to take to the skies and give us a show, even if the rest of us were uncomfortable flying with that level of wind. What a smooth landing. Unfortunately, some of our friends left for the day, but that meant that we would see them again later on in the future.
Tucked it up in there.
And with that, day 3 came to a close. A slower but fun day nonetheless. And so started day 4, which started with some tandems and bringing a couple people up for the first flights.
Is that a fat shaming?
First up was Jesse.
Well, sometimes this side gets hooked, so you'll drop.
Yeah, sometimes we just do backflips into the ground. Dude, this is better than my Harley. All right, man, get my ass off the ground. On occasion. Go. Yeah.
Pull me forward a little bit.
Ah!
All right, you're good.
No, probably put my mask on. Okay.
Stand up a little bit for me if I get my wheel. I'm going to put my knees on the inside of the car.
Okay.
Okay?
Good?
Yep, we're good.
Clear front.
So after that tandem flight, it was my turn to get in the air.
There we go.
So getting in the air, I decided to fly close by to see where they were at in the setup process, because I wanted to be there to enjoy the ride along with the person that was being taken up as well. It was going to be his first paramotor ride, and I was excited for it just as much as for him. Unfortunately, the first part of the launch was a failure, so they had to reset. So I just stayed in the area and kind of played around waiting for them to get reset. Saw Jordan coming up, so I decided to do a quick buzz by. It was a very, very cold morning, but well worth it. Here comes another launch attempt. Unfortunately, the wind caught it sideways and the launch was not able to take off as planned. Here's another attempt. This time it goes up. Success. It's always great to share in the enjoyment when a new person is able to take to the skies. They're able to share the same excitement and thrill that we get every time we take to the air. So at this point in the flight, my hands were starting to get a bit chilly as I had been up in the sky for quite some time. So I did a couple more circles, played in the air before I decided to bring it on home. And now for the best landing ever. Part 2.
Dang it! Anybody got a ladder?
Right, you need your profile picture, buddy.
Well, remember I have the other one where I slid into the fence.
I guarantee Dad's looking at his iPad right now, like, what the?
My hand,
Camera's not even looking at you, it's just rotating.
my hands are so freaking cold.
Dude, Cody's up there with no clothes.
So with that, Fly the Fort Spring Edition started to come to an end. We did a little bit of kiting to show the person that was highly interested in paramotoring exactly what to expect. Mary also got a chance to help kite Jordan up. But like all good things, it came to an end. And at that point, we started our pickup for all of us to start to return home. Thank you so much for having us, and I can't wait to see you guys all in the fall. Fly safe.